What is going on, people? Welcome back to another video. So earlier in the day, Nintendo dropped a pretty big bombshell of a Nindies Direct, and it's so funny because when we talk about the subject of Nintendo Directs, there seems to be two camps on the internet. That there's the camp that hypes it up like no tomorrow, like every single Nintendo Direct is the best thing since sliced bread, and then there's the camp who firmly believes that there has never been a good Nintendo Direct. Like most things in life, I tend to lean somewhere in the middle. I don't think that every single Nintendo Direct is great, which is why I don't hype myself up for them. But at the same time, if I can walk away from a Nintendo Direct with one or two quality announcements, I'll be content. And one thing that I have noticed, being a Switch owner for the past, we're going on a year and a half now, is that every single time Nintendo comes out with the Direct, even if they may not be my personal cup of tea, I start noticing little changes to Nintendo. And this Nindies Direct really affirmed that suspicion. We got two pretty majorly big announcements. That is excellent grammar, but we're gonna roll with it in the video, and we got a bunch of other stuff here. So this is not gonna be a rundown of the things that were unveiled in the Nindies Direct, because it was insane the amount of stuff that they're pumping out. No, we are gonna be talking about two games in particular that are gonna be pretty monumental on the Nintendo Switch. First things first, they opened it up with Cuphead. Cuphead is indeed coming to the Switch, and this, again, it goes back to reaffirming some of our suspicions and beliefs in the gaming industry that this Nintendo-Microsoft partnership is probably going to be more than just cross-play for Minecraft. Yeah, I think it goes a bit deeper than that, but more on that later. We'll probably hear about this as we get closer and closer to E3. Potentially, we could see some other Xbox IPs show up on the platform, Ori. But yeah, Cuphead coming to the Switch is pretty dope. I personally have not played Cuphead, so I'm not going to sit here and talk about all of its great graces. I'm not going to sing the praises of Cuphead and its difficulty and all that shtick because I haven't played the game. I don't own an Xbox One. I have a PC, but to be honest, man, you know how it gets. Sometimes, even if there's a game you want to play, you have that platform, you're just not going to give it the time of day because you want to do something else. Oh boy, look, it dropped on the Nintendo Switch. Let me drop everything and play the game. It's just, that seems to be what it is with me and the Switch. Like, there'll be a game that I could pick up on PS4 for like 30 years, and then they drop that shit on the Switch. I get it day one. Why? Because I love that little bastard way too much. The fact that you can play Cuphead portably, it's a match made in heaven. It should have been there day one. But the fact that it's coming out on the Switch next month, pretty dope. I know a lot of people on the Switch are going to support it, and I personally believe that it's probably going to sell best on Nintendo Switch. You've seen those indie sales, right? And those were for games that most people didn't know much about. Cuphead already has a pre-established fan base and audience of people. So yeah. The next game is actually something that's what I personally believe to be more interesting than Cuphead coming to the Switch, but for a completely different reason. Nintendo is collaborating with an indie developer on a Legend of Zelda game. Yes, you guys heard that right. Unlike a lot of people out there, again, I am not going to make myself out to be some type of expert when it comes to knowing all the indie games out there. So I actually had to look this one up and really find out the history behind it. So the game is called Cadence of Hyrule, and this is a collaboration between Nintendo and, if I can get this right, Crypt of the Necrodancers developer Brace Yourself Games. That is a mouthful if there ever was one. So they're coming out and they're doing this collaboration with Nintendo, and originally it was going to be DLC for their past game. But the more and more they started talking to the Nintendo, it evolved into more than that. And this goes back to what I've been saying when it comes to Nintendo and these third parties. Nintendo needs third-party support. Yes, we understand that third-party is the life and blood of a system. However, the way that Nintendo goes about doing third parties is they don't really have to get all of the major titles. They don't need the Call of Duties. They don't need the Anthems. I don't know why anyone would want Anthem in the first place. But if they can get some of these interesting collaborations with some of these studios like Ubisoft and work on a Mario plus Rabbids, or with an indie studio like, I just forgot their name. So what is their name here? What is their name here? Brace Yourself Games? Yes. I think that those games are potentially more interesting than the standard, hey, we have an Assassin's Creed game out on the system. And you know what the funny thing about this is that it took a few years of changing not only my mindset, but Nintendo realizing it as well. when it comes to power and performance, we know that Nintendo is never going to be on top. Like, that ship has sailed. They want to crack a new market. And what they've done with the Switch, I personally think is phenomenal. And while it's not the most powerful system, it can put out some really awesome and unique games. And when you start getting into, you know, the high sales for the systems and the collaborations that could come, it's going to stem more than just them licensing out Fire Emblem to do a Musou game. We start getting them in bed with more like Western studios and coming out with some more interesting titles. What have we been saying for the longest time when it comes to Nintendo? They have some of the best IPs on the freaking planet that they don't use. How many developers out there, whether they are indie, single A, double A, triple A, whatever, would dream to get a crack at Star Fox or F-Zero or the next Metroid game? And we know that, you know, some collaborations have been better than others. You know, Star Fox Zero with Platinum and Nintendo is not the best thing out there. Blame can be placed all around. We understand that licensing out Metroid to Bandai Namco and all that stuff really didn't work out. But for every single one of those failures, we have a shining star that is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, and what I assume is going to be this indie game, Cadence of Hyrule. I think that from what I've seen in the gameplay, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty damn good game, and you guys know Switch owners support their games. This is monumental, and I want to see more of this going forward, because if this is a success and the game is actually really good, who's to say Nintendo won't maybe license out some of their other IPs to make a more traditional type of game, maybe an RPG in the style of a certain game that Square doesn't want to put out that had a Mario character in it. Who knows, but I am very excited about this, and it's part of the reason why, you know, even if these directs come out and they're not the greatest thing in the world and they don't announce that Apex Legend is on the Switch, stuff like this, I think, is more vital for the gaming industry going forward. And I think further down the road, Nintendo will get those Call of Duties, and they'll get the Maddens, and they'll get all the stuff that we expect. But this thing right here, I personally believe, is more interesting, and we're going to be talking about this for years to come. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video, you guys. Post your comments and thoughts down below about this Nindies Direct. What were some of the things that you personally found interesting, entertaining, and did you guys pick up that game that starts with a blast that dropped today for $9.99? You should have. Or my homie Soulful Chris, tell him in the comments, educate these fools. He'll be after you. For now, my name is NJ, signing out. Like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.